Good evening, American Capitalist Swine, and welcome to another glorious edition of Is It Worth My Time? Hey, everybody. Welcome to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkas, and this is another edition of Is It Worth My Time? This is the Glow edition. So, Glow is actually a Netflix series, and it stands for Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, if you couldn't tell. Um, yes, it's so Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling actually happened in the 80s, late 80s to early 90s. And before I get into the whole story here and talk about that, I'm going to do a little bit of plugging of my own here before I do that. So if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also, you can hit the dislike button. I just ask you go down in the comment section, tell me what it is you don't like about the show. Give me some constructive criticism, some feedback, if you will. Also, if you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. I also have my schedule up on my webpage, suspendedfanimation.com, which is also mirrored over my Facebook page. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram. I also have a Patreon as well, but no tiers set up until the end of this year. So, back to the story of what I was talking about here. Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. So this is a real series that actually happened the end of the 80s into the 90s. And one of the women involved actually took her story, took the story of the women that were involved in this, basically the whole story of a lot of people, and made a series out of it and pitched it to Netflix, and they liked it. And that's what you're watching here. So it's a little bit of a dramedy, I guess you could say. It's got some drama to it. It's got some comedy. And really, it's about a bunch of actresses and stunt people that were out of work, and a guy who had a little bit too much money and wanted to do a wrestling program with women. And this is what the result was, quite honestly. And you got a lot of standout actors and actresses in this. I mean, I'm just going to say flat out, you've got Alison Brie and Betty Gilpin. Those are the two that are standout. They are the leads, of course. They play Ruth Wilder and Debbie Egan. And they do their wrestling. I mean, they all these actors and actresses do their own wrestling. So I mean, it's you got a lot of different personalities that are happening too. I mean, you have one woman who's named Sheila the She Wolf because she dresses up and thinks, she dresses up like a wolf and, acts like a wolf, that kind of thing. And you also have some stereotypes too that they have going on in here. And they play into those stereotypes purposely because they wanted fans to kind of get into it. They wanted people to get into it. So I mean, they did a terrorist persona uh, with an Indian woman, which was kind of weird. Yes, they did a Malaysian girl who they called Fortune Cookie, things like that, and yeah, they had a large African American woman that they named Welfare Queen. Yeah, and so that was the whole shtick. Was they did a lot of stereotypes. They did a lot of skits, things like that. In between, they did wrestling. So yeah, and that's what this whole story is about. Is like what happened, how they got involved in this, what their lives were like as they were doing this, and it's actually fairly fucking compelling. I'll have to say that much. I've had this in my queue for the longest time in Netflix. I know everyone's been talking about it, and I just didn't get around to it. So I finally got around to it. And you're going to say, okay, Dennis, so how does this fall under the genre realm? It doesn't. It really doesn't. Other than I want Alison Brie to be the next She-Hulk is what I want, or I want her to be She-Hulk, the live action version for the Disney Plus series. They're talking about doing a live action version of She-Hulk. Glow right now has 3 seasons out on Netflix. It was just announced they were renewed for a 4th and final season. And I figure after that, Alison Brie can move on and do She-Hulk. And yeah, I want her to get much more work as well. And Betty Gilpin. I mean, Betty Gilpin is really fucking good as well. All the actresses in this. Mark Maron, by the way. So I grew up listening to Mark Maron. He's been in television in some form or another. He's been radio. He's been in lots of different things, let's just say. And so if you're in my age group, you know who Mark Maron is because he was on MTV, all that kind of stuff. And he kind of went, the back channels, I guess you could say, in the 90s and the early 2000s, and started doing podcasts and things like that. So he actually does a really popular podcast from his garage at home, and a lot of people listen to it. I heard it's very good. I haven't watched it. I haven't listened to it. I know they do both. They video it and also do the podcast of it. But he's great in this as this director, B-movie director, who ends up directing episodes of these women wrestling. And yeah, you really get sucked into the story early on. There's also, like I said, there are their personal stuff that happens too. And Ruth, so you have both Ruth and Debbie are intertwined as well because of their story of what happens. And actually, Ruth is who kind of takes you into this. That's how you start going into this world. And it's pretty good. I'll say this much. I watched the first 3 seasons in one weekend. So yeah, is it worth your time? Yes, it's definitely damn worth your time. Um, it it runs the whole gamut, I'm telling you. And yes, you have 80s trappings. It's set in the 80s. That's what it's supposed to be, and it's fun. It's fun. It's also, got some depressing moments too, but they don't dwell on them like other shows do. And every episode's only about like 30-40 minutes long. So pretty easy to get into and watch an episode and maybe get out of it if you can. Yeah. And also that's right, Viking Mitch, there's nudity. Excuse me. So there's a lot of nudity. As a matter of fact, in the first episode, Alison Brie, top comes off. Yeah. But two, if I remember correctly. So yeah. So if that hasn't sold you by now, it never will. What's the no for, Joe? What was the um, what's going on there? I wouldn't say a lot, but yeah, it's not like rampant. I mean, you don't have it's not every episode has nudity, but there is some nudity to it. Yes, it's nudity with a purpose, I guess. Is how you can say that, nudity with a purpose. Is that right? So, but the story, that's what everyone's going to come for, is the story. Yeah, just never mind what I just said there. So but yes, everyone will watch this for the story. The story is actually really good. The characters are really good, and yeah, I want to see what's going to happen next. So I was just going to say that, Dennis, it makes sense. Yeah, it does make sense in the story. So the nudity does make sense in the story. It's not just there just to show tits, ass, whatever. So yeah, and like I said, 3 seasons are up right now. A 4th season is greenlit as their final season. And yes, hire Alison Brie for more stuff, and Betty Gilpin, and everybody pretty much. Justine Biagi, excuse me, Britt Baron, who plays Justine. She actually, is great as well. I'm not doing any spoilers on this because there is a lot of story and a lot of stuff works itself out fairly quickly. So I don't want to give stuff away because that is the point of this, is you want to watch it so that stuff is not given away. Sidel Noel, who plays Cherry Bang, great character, by the way. She does a great job. I mean, all of these women do a great job. It's a huge cast of women, and we got some guys in there too. But yeah, it's actually it's kind of amazing that you get this big of a cast, and everyone's actually on board on the same wavelength, and they're all different people, and they're all written. I mean, they all have their own voice as a character. It doesn't sound like it's all written by one person. So, what are my favorites? Sheila, the she wolf. Quite honestly, Joe. Once I started getting more into her story, I wanted to know more, like a lot more of Sheila. And yeah, she's actually my favorite, I would say. So, Mufinobi. So season 1 was 2017. Looks like 3 seasons, and it's only 2019. Does that mean we'll get season 4 early to mid 2020? Yeah, it's going to be 2020. So they just released season 3 probably about a month ago, something like that. And so yeah, it's going to be a summer release. And yeah, the actual glow was a rinky dink thing, but if you read about what they went through a lot of shit, quite honestly. I took a look at the Wikipedia page on that, and so they are not following the story, the real story, closely. They are, taking some liberties with it, of course, because they don't want to do it, note for note, but they are kind of hitting the highlights of some of the stuff there. And you also get some big names coming in too, like Gina Davis comes in season 3. So, any documentaries on the real thing? I think there are some out there, Mufinobi. I didn't really go through that. Uh, yeah, but no, there's some cast members that went through from the late 80s all the way through to like 2010. So I mean, yeah. Uh, yeah, one of the girls did break her arm live on TV. Yeah. No, actually, I liked Gina Davis's portrayal. It was perfect. I thought actually she had just the right amount of screen time, and the way they did her character was perfect. The way it was supposed to be, because she's supposed to come in and kind of facilitate some stuff and get things moving. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of the injuries that these women went through, it was, you know, it's the same thing like in wrestling, the WWF and all this stuff. Uh, the women went through the same thing where you get a lot of injuries. You're still having to do your gig for the night, and so what do? You take painkillers to cover it up. Yeah, yeah, and yes, they did a lot of shit for ratings. uh my favorite line was when she was talking about how she used to put Vaseline. No, how he taught her mentor taught her how to put Vaseline on her nipples to make them look fantastic. That's what I thought was funny too, Viking bitch. I like that line too. Uh, yeah. The Real Glow wrap was priceless. They called it taking bumps in the business. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so definitely take a look at it. You know, there's lots of shit on Netflix. This isn't one of them. Yeah. And Coke and anything they can get their hands on. Yeah. Well, it was the late 80s, early 90s. So, excuse me. So, yes, Coke was plentiful and raining from the skies, obviously. So, season 1 set in LA. They also do some stuff later on in Vegas as well. So, yeah, definitely check it out. It's well worth your time. Uh, Louis Scopy. I don't know who that is. Joe Greer. Sorry. Yeah, you're right, Viking Witch. This is a rare jewel in a bucket of shit that is Netflix programming. Yeah, sometimes I look at Netflix, I'm like, why am I paying this much for this? And then Glow comes up and I'm like, oh, okay, this is the reason why. Because every now and then they'll bring in a Glow. It's like, boom, all right. Or they, Drew Barrymore's zombie thing. I can't remember the name of it all. And the Santa Clarita Diet. There we go. Things like that. Of course, they canceled the Santa Clarita Diet, but hey. Then you get stuff like Russian Doll, all of that stuff. Why do you think there's been an influx of Vaseline in the Midwest, Florida, and of course San Diego? Oh, don't forget San Francisco movie for Novi, but it's used for an entirely different thing. Viking Bitch says, this is why I hesitate to cancel as well. There are rare few shows that I like. Yeah, it's so this cancellation had nothing to do with me. I know everyone says I'm the harbinger of canceling shows just because I mentioned it on a Saturday morning blast off that I liked the show, that I liked, it was not my fault because I didn't review it and I hadn't gotten fully into it. I just watched one episode or a couple episodes and I'm like, hey, that's actually pretty good. I'm going to watch the rest of it. So thank you. I figured it was safe to kind of come on and talk about it once, it was already mentioned that it was getting its last season. So, yeah. So what's going on for the rest of this week? I've got Titans season 2, episode 4 happening tomorrow. Saturday is Saturday morning blast off. Sunday is the season and the series finale for Preacher. Thank God that's over with. Monday I'm off. Tuesday is going to be another Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what it is as of yet. And then, of course, Wednesday I'm off. And Thursday is another Is It Worth My Time? Yeah. And we start all over again. He's an ECW wrestler. Like so many other stars. Okay. I didn't know. Curious from the female gaze, does Sasha watch Glow? She has been really, really busy with a new job, Mufinobi, so I don't think she's watched anything. And I don't know. So I couldn't tell you. But why don't you ask Viking Bitch? She's been watching it. I don't know I think Penn has as well. Penn Farm Girl has been watching it as well. And yes, Joe, there are going to be some dick jokes, I believe. And they're going to be wet dick jokes this coming, tomorrow, because Aqualad is the name of the title. So obviously there's going to be a lot of wet dick jokes on that one. Yeah. Because it's Titans, and you can't have Titans without a bunch of dick jokes. Mm-hmm. Yep, wet dick jokes. Yes, she is in school, Mufinobi, and working at the same time. So yes, it's working at school. Yeah. Snow in the Twin Cities. Yeah. Does it ever warm up in Minnesota out there? So with that said, thank you. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you want to know when I'm going live again next, you can hit the bell down below. If you, of course, want to go into the bell settings there, blah, 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 if I can actually talk, you can go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want. You can also take a look at my website, suspendedfanimation.com. I've got my schedule up there. That schedule is also mirrored on my Facebook page. There's also a Facebook group as well where people can post things. You can talk amongst yourselves, just be polite to each other, that kind of stuff. And I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and a Patreon, and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and if you're still on the fence about joining up, there's going to be a video that pops up here at the very end of the video that, at the very end of this video, I should say. So what it's going to do is it's going to take the algorithm of all the stuff you've been watching, and it's going to match it as best as it can to one video out of my vast video library and put it up there just for you. And also up on this side, we're going to have the last Is It Worth My Time, which was Disenchantment. That happened on Tuesday. Please don't watch Mr. In Between. I'd like to get a third season. Thanks, Ejar. I am not the harbinger of death on these shows. That's just the way stuff is working out now. Unless it's on CBS or NBC and attracts a bunch of 80-year-olds, then it lasts forever, like CSI Miami, CSI Tucson, CSI Winnebago, CSI, Nome, CSI Malaysia, CSI. Yeah, you get my point. Yeah, pants. Who wears pants? I sometimes feel like I'm 80. Yeah, Ejar, who doesn't? Yeah. Dennis kills with love of watching. That's not true. That's not true. Because The Passage died as well, and I didn't love that show at all. And Swamp Thing I did love, but I was only one episode in. I don't know how that happened. That wasn't mine. Yeah. Hey, Penn. Dennis said, yeah, I was stuck at work, catching up now, watching at 2x speed. Yeah, we were just talking about you, but now that you're here, we feel kind of awkward about it. So, like I said, tomorrow is Titans and Dick Jokes. Saturday morning blast off. Sunday, Preacher, and we go back around the horn again. So, and then everything new starts up October 6th, if I remember correctly. That's when we get Mr. Robot coming in. And then, of course, that week I'm going to be doing the DC CW hour or maybe 45 minutes of all the DC CW shows. So maybe something can get canceled off then, for me reviewing it. Oh, wait, they're already doing that with Arrow. Yay. I'm sorry, Arrow's just gotten bad. I'm really not looking forward to watching Arrow. I'm really not. What newspaper work keeps you this late? I tried watching American Horror Story 1984. It's all about slasher. Yeah. The DC Minute. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So I guess I need to add this show to my long Netflix list. What's Mr. In Between? I don't know what Mr. In Between is, but yes, if you haven't watched Glow, you need to watch Glow. It needs to be put on your list of stuff. Watch the first episode, Penn, and see what you think. It's only like 30 to 40 minutes long, something like that. Each episode's only 30 or 40 minutes long. So pretty doable to watch an episode. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. And I'm going to let you guys go for the evening because, I've run out of stuff to say. So like I've said before, is it worth your time to watch Glow? Damn well is. Sure enough, go and watch it. And if you're wondering what I was doing that weird Russian accent at the very beginning, watch the show. You'll find out. There's a reason for it. Yeah. In the USA, it's on FXX or the Fox app. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah. You need better IT. Who doesn't need better IT, Movie Fanobi? Yeah. But thank you, Penn. Yes, click on the schedule. Take a look there. Every Monday, I switch up that schedule and I let you know what's happening the next, for that week. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you tomorrow for Titans. So don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, because otherwise you may get suplexed from the top rope. And yes, Zoya will crush you American bitches. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.